Welcome back to the Honda Project. And we're forking off again. Yes, we removed the 3mm washer from the bottom and put the bearing back in, and now we have room for a washer on top, which should have been there. Plus, this is snugged down neatly, so we got another 3mm out of that, so that's all good. This is officially Sue's Underworld, or Honduki. Honduki, I prefer Honduki. We have a Honduki, and why not? I mean, we had Tritons, right? It's a Honduki. And I've been shopping, yes, at O'Reilly's, and I've bought, yes, that's for the Yamaha. We're going to be filling up that. Testing for leaks, and brake fluid just for general use, because we're going to be swapping the Suzuki conglomeration of brake lines. Some degreasing foamy degreaser mainly for the Honda, a little bit for the Suzuki, and yes, a 27mm deep socket for the Honduki, so I can tighten up that front wheel properly. Yes, and we can see, really see how everything sits. So let's get on with it. And I'm going to be making a conscious effort not to say in this video as much as I do. So perhaps you should start counting and let me know how many I do. That was a false start, by the way. It's from now on. And just in case you're wondering how you go about this, you're probably not. You probably don't give a damn. But just in case you are, this is how you do it. I've jacked it up, lifted it up just enough that they fit, and get them in at an angle through the bottom yoke, and then I will push each one up through the top yoke, just snug them off on the top yoke, get them about even, and then job's good, really. I'll probably end up lifting it some more to get the wheel in, which in itself is fun and games. And bingo, there you have it. Ready for the wheel, I guess. Should we put the wheel back in? Let's try our new 27mm socket. Having done this a couple of times now, I'm working out a technique which involves pulling out this end, give you plenty of space the other end to get the shaft through as far as you can. Then push this back in without getting your thumb stuck in it, hopefully. Yeah, push this here to get that back in. And then it's the last little wiggle, because you've got to line up the shaft with the hole in this before you get to the threads in this, which is what we needed that 27mm for, which is that nut on the end there. And once you've got that all kind of lined up, it does require a little help from our friend Thor. And I think we're now ready to employ the 27mm. There it is, brand new, and married to my somewhat crappy 1/2-inch drive socket wrench thing, which I think, if I remember rightly, I got from Halfords when I was about 20. So I could probably treat myself to a new decent one, because it's a bit crap, but it has survived. Job done, tightened up, and good this end. So that actually relieves me a little, because yesterday when I just threw this on, just for the fun of it, there was a massive gap this side, and this was really tight. So once you tighten it all up, and that's only snugged, it's not even snugged, honestly. Once you tighten it up, everything evens out, and you've got an even gap either side. Nice engineering, Suzuki. On the Honduki. Let's free it from its chains. Well, that didn't go well, did it? Because I forgot that I had to put the side stand up, because I had it resting on the wooden block. Now it's, luckily I caught it. Oops. There you go. Take two. And there she is, proudly standing on her 2 feet again. Looking good. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really like that. It's certainly been a journey, and I'm not convinced it's over yet. But if we weigh up what's actually happened, apart from a little trial and error on the whole spacing washers, and whether this is good enough to secure the whole thing, I'm still uncertain. But if we weigh it all up money-wise, I think we'll find that we have successfully traded, bearing in mind that I've still got the CB750 stuff, which I could potentially sell. But even if I didn't, we potentially traded a front-end swap on a GSXR for under 500 bucks, I think, which is really impressive, I think. Till you see the engineering, of course. No, seriously, it's not bad. Premature as it may seem, I think at this point I'm going to test fit again the drop handlebars, because while I got this machine here, I might need to take the forks off again in order to put the drops here rather than here. But I'm tending towards flipping them upside down, because I've got the risers, which will become lower risers, and putting them on the top. So let's try that again for a little bit more for real this time. By the way, if you're still counting, the doesn't count. I caught myself. So it's only a full-blown There they are, mounted on top with the risers lower rising. And the restriction there was obviously this nut bolt here that tightens that top end of the yoke to the fork. And despite the fact that they are clearly a little bit flappy, a little bit long, which obviously we can adjust as the time comes, but I'm going to leave them there for now. It'll make life easier pushing it around a garage, and secondly, it will allow me to just get used to the height of that, especially when we start mucking around with the fuel tank again, seeing where that sits, which I forgot to grind off those bits, by the way, when I had the grinder out the other day. Yes, I forgot those. Annoying. And we're going to have to trim these as well, I guess, because otherwise they'll still stick out the same amount. Whatever. Maybe that's the next job. Plus a trip to Home Depot, yes, to get some wood. I'm excited to try this out, I really am. Not least of all, apart from putting up a few shelves for the missus, I haven't really done any woodwork since I was at school, where we had a teacher. The woodwork teacher was actually called Mr. Beach. Yes, he didn't have an assistant called Mr. Oak, but there we are. And he had a bionic thumb. The other thing I'm going to be pondering while this is sat here like this is the lights, because I haven't really thought about the lights at all on this one. I've thought about several options. I'm even considering the possibility of a single big, you know, kind of CafeRacer, old school, but LED obviously, headlight. The interesting thing is that we've got copious places, because these have got screw threads in, which is why I left them and cut that off. And we've got a mounting thing here. We've got a couple of mounting things at the back there. They're not going to be much use. Don't know what went in there. So we've got some options in terms of mounting something, especially those. I'm feeling that strongly. Then again, of course, we're going to need a mounting point for some kind of speedo. Though, of course, we have the original ignition. And, of course, that is down here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, we'll be replacing that, obviously. And then there's the whole oil tank delete. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to leave it there. It's not a bad shape. And with a bit of paint, it might look all right. Did I tell you about the air filters I've ordered? Yes, I did, didn't I? Yes. I'll let you know when they come. Another thing I've been contemplating, in fact, I was contemplating before I put this together, but I kind of prematurely decided against it, was to use that anodizing blue paint on the front forks. The problem being, yeah, every time you fit this, you're going to scrape it off, period. So it's a last minute paint it after it's all fitted up type deal. and I'm not sure I want to do that. I don't think the result is good. Or if you've been watching any of my videos, anytime I've used this, it just really hasn't worked out well. So, shame I got 3 cans of it. I've only got 1 can of that left. Uh-oh, my favourite colour. Also looking at the dangly bits, of which we've got a choke. Yes, if you've been watching my Suzuki series, it's probably about parallel right now. This doesn't have a symbol, it actually has a word written. There you go. Really? There you go. So, that's interesting, because the Suzuki hasn't got the cable anymore. And I can trace this back to where it goes, which is there. We're definitely going to have to find somewhere to mount that, because it doesn't have any kind of external thing. It's buried down there somewhere. Whereas on the Suzuki, it actually kind of leads to this little guy here, which you can physically pull out with your hand. Although I'm thinking about improving that somehow. And then there's the whole exhaust system thing, where I'm looking at these. They're pretty reasonable, honestly. They're 500 plus bucks, which is not unreasonable for a complete beautiful exhaust system. Actually, 4-into-1, lovely. However, I am really tempted to try and recreate these. I don't even know if it's possible with the frame as it is on the CB750 as opposed to the 404, but they are the most beautiful exhausts possibly ever on a production bike. Well, in terms of the headers, they're just gorgeous, and the possibility of recreating that is exciting, as I'm sure will be the end bill for doing so. Yes. So, I don't know. How carried away do you get with these projects, right? I mean, you're probably looking at $1,000 for somebody to create that. If not more, honestly. I have just the guy to do the job, Adam, who did what did he do? He did the back seat kind of thing, finished off the frame on the Augusta, helped me out with the speedo mount on the Yamaha, and did the roll cage in the race car. He's a brilliant fabricator, and I'm sure he could do it. He actually did the pipes on my mate Kurt's 40, 50, whatever it is, Ford truck, which are just beautiful, and they sound great. The mufflers are way up front, and then they got these massive long straight pipes that are probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 foot long. It sounds beautiful. So Adam could certainly recreate it, but how long will it take him, right? And it's potentially a lot of money. Is it worth it? Some of you may remember this crazy idea on my first ever custom bike. Yes, the Augusta. There is a distinct possibility of a resurrection. That's cool, right? I think it's cool. Big improvement on that. Oh no, that's the kill switch. I don't know where the starter switch went. Oh, that's right. That's where it is. Yes, they disconnected the starter switch because it's cool to have a kickstart. Apparently. And talking of decisions, there's other things to be decided upon before we take any further steps in any further directions. And one of those is the fuel tank. Yes. Ignore the paint for the time being. Ignore the super sparkly silver. We are just exploring. I mean, I like the shape. I've said it before, haven't I? Yes, I'm repeating myself. So, and at risk of repeating myself again, it's all about the riding position, and it's difficult to tell, but sitting on it with that tank, bearing in mind a seat coming off it, but your balls are going to be resting against that bit. At least mine are, because I like nudging my balls against the fuel tank. I don't know what it is. Anyway, enough of that. That would mean you're kind of right here. I mean, you're literally staring at the wheel. Yeah, that's an unusual stance. And the pedals are down here kind of thing. And I need to kind of mock this up somehow. Furthermore, that back end becomes even more longer, no, just even longer than it needs to be. Well, we can't shave it off anymore because that's where they mount. And there's nowhere else for them to mount. Oh, this is a lot of confusion, isn't it? And yes, I haven't begun to shave off those bits that are hindering, those bits there, that are hindering this sitting down, so it would sit lower. It is a nice shape though. That's why I bought it. Well, that and the fact it was only $43.75 post free. Does look kind of nice though. It's sleek, it's slender, it's probably only holds like 2 gallons. And it's precarious. And given that we have garage monkeys, it could potentially get knocked off. So I'm not sure if I can leave it there and get used to it. But I'm going to try. It's not a garage monkey. That's a garage Bing. He's camera shy until it comes to dinner time. I should probably get the old tank out and put that back on, just to remind myself what that looks like as a viable alternative to what I'm looking at here. Because I really do like this. It looks good, it looks sleek. And it accentuates that chunky front end. Yeah. So I'm thinking through colours again. Is that a sidestep, a segue? I don't know. I'm thinking through colours again. And what colour does this remind anyone of if you're into motor racing at all? Yes. No, nothing to do with Lancia, but another famously successful rally manufacturer, Subaru Blue. That's kind of what we've achieved there without even setting out to do that. And although this has all got to be disassembled and repainted and whatever, because it's just a bodge job, I'm thinking Subaru Blue. So it'll be a Honduki Baru. A Honduki Baru. That's what it'll be. Sounds good to me. Or it looks good to me. I mean, look at these colours. Yeah, it's a cool colour. I have to say that. Goes very well with blue, gold. Same as my Stratos. Blue and gold. Yes, that garage monkey. That one there. Leave the fuel tank alone. Yeah, so we're all exploring various options here, as you might have noticed. Seat, which is the Augusta rear passenger pillion seat, which would fit nicely. And wouldn't it be nice if, I don't know if I can mock this up, but wouldn't it be nice if the wooden thing mimicked that beautiful curved pointy thing? I think that's a great idea. Still pondering and exploring, and God bless cigarette packets, because they just kind of do their job. They've got lots of dimensions that are very useful when you're exploring things. So I'm thinking the seat, the wooden seat, should raise the actual seat, the Augusta seat. You should raise it a little, an angle, so that your whole butt's forced down towards the tank. I like that too. And then I think it should just carry on in the same plane. So remembering this is the either the running light or the brake light. Remembering I got that a while ago because it fitted perfectly into that void, that bracket. So the seat would come kind of this way, end in a point. Maybe I even try and shave that into a point. That would be cool. Haven't tried shaving perspex before now. Oh my God, I'm setting myself up for failure. So if that ended up in a point, and then the wood came up in a point as well, about here, and we had some just tiny little running lights, that could really work, couldn't it? So in this episode, we're not actually doing much, we're just exploring a lot, and this is part and parcel of building a custom motorbike, honestly, because you just have to kind of sit there and look at it and like, how would I do this and how would I do that? And well, I guess stage one of exploring the ideas is to cut and mold this into that V shape to match the seat, right? And I've not tried this before, but this isn't polished at the end, so can't possibly do any worse than a straight cut in terms of its light bearing qualities. So I'm going to cut this. I can't remember what it cost. It's a gamble. It might have been 10, 20 bucks. I'm going to give it a go. This could be amazing. Couldn't it, monkey? Monkey. Maybe. Obviously, I used the seat itself to mark that out. And it doesn't matter that it's kind of an abrupt finish. I might decide to curve it off a little bit more, but it doesn't matter, because all you're going to see is the end result. I'm excited about this, actually. Well, after about an 8-point turn to get the bike out there, and for good reason, as you'll see in a minute, I've realised that those steering stops at the front need some more grinding. And we've got to grind down those fuel tank stops as well. So I think I'm going to cut them actually rather than grind them. I'm just going to cut like a couple of mil off each side. And I'm going to cut my perspex block as well. And I'm also not going to invest in any wooden material, as I found this, which is exactly half the dimensions that I need. So this is a 4x1, and I need an 8x2 or an 8x4 actually. Would be a single lump of wood, but I'm going to do the inevitable and do it twice. So I'm going to mock it up with this and just see how I get on, see if I can actually achieve what I want to achieve. Of course, you know, the irony would be if I do it on the test block perfectly out of a crappy piece of wood, and then I can't reproduce it on a nice piece of wood, but we'll see. So here's what I'm doing. I'm comparing the original tank and my seat which do we prefer to the other one. See what the difference looks like. Which do we prefer? That's a good question. There, nice clean cut, just shaved off a couple of mil. And a similar shaving exercise on that steering stop, which has given me enough travel now, I hope. Can't really take any more off, so it's going to have to do. So now I'm cutting the back light, the perspex, with a jigsaw. And interestingly, it's kind of melting itself back together as you cut it, which is kind of annoying. So that's going to require some tidy up, but it's a reasonable cut. So we just need to do the other side. Well, that's the general idea, I guess. And there we have it, one wooden seat. Yes, well, the very early beginnings thereof. And let me show you what I'm thinking. So that gap, these doofers here, fit in that gap. This starts sloping up to provide that angle for the seat. Then these need to be cut to accommodate that. But I'm not going to do that until I kind of work out where it's going to fall. Yeah, so this is premature down here. this is not, so I'm going to cut these and then cut these accordingly. Start building up that mimicking of the tail. How about that? Wish me luck. Right, better get back inside again. And there's the tank now sitting on those mounts at the front, just because these are obviously still too wide and too big generally to fit the new tank. So I'm going to need some shallower. I could cut these, but I don't want to because they're perfect for the Honda tank, and they're still they're too big. Yeah, they're too big a diameter. So I need smaller diameter and thinner. But yeah, that's kind of where it sits, which is a little bit further forward still than we had before. Anyway, what about a wooden badger? So I foresee about 4 episodes just on building this, let alone the actual one. It's going to be complicated. Quite the project all on its own. And I'm not happy about the extra length. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out, but we can always curtail it for sure. And of course, despite the extensive investment in tools, not least all my 27mm socket for the front wheel on the Suzuki aspect of this Honduhi, I have no woodworking tools. I don't even know where I'm starting. It's a whole new area. And on that note, I think we'll call it a day for this episode because it's dragged on a little already, hasn't it? Yes. I'm going to be doing some sanding and sawing and swearing probably, with splinters potentially. So I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching as normal, and subscribe if you haven't already, and of course encourage others to watch my lunacy.